Whoa! It's the Illusion reporting from somewhere on Spaceship Earth. I'm in the living room. I just got back from body surfing down at Zuma. It's officially summer here in Southern California along the coastline. After a summer of fog, it's finally summertime. Anyway, I thought I would expand upon what I was talking about in the last video, Rockstar. And mainly because, look, one thing I'll say is I appreciate negative comments. I just don't like that people need to attack with the comment that could actually be constructive, except they choose to make it a negative comment. I'm an imperfect being, so of course there's going to be room for correction. Anyway, let's try to behave like decent people in the comment section. There's no need to attack me. Just point out where you think I'm flawed. You don't have to be bitter about it. But anyway, with that said, I wanted to talk about how we only have one decision. We've only ever had one decision in this lifetime. And that decision is to live in a state of love or in a state of fear, man. Those two realities can't coexist at the same time. You're either living in a state of love or you're living in a state of fear. Now, those reality may change at any given moment depending upon the information you're receiving at the time. But as you move forward and you begin to realize that your five senses have a profound ability to lie to you, and that the information that we are receiving comes from a construct of lies that's based upon fear. And what do I mean by that? I mean that basically our present day society is one of fear. That's one of a state of lack. That's why we have all the problems on Spaceship Earth that we have, whether it's environmental degradation, genocide, human rights issues, war, famine, death. They're all based upon fear and a state of lack. Now, I've spent a majority of my life being aware and studying and delving into these states of fear, states of lack. I want to make it clear, I'm not participating in war on any level, to the point of I'm not going to sit here and debate any of it, man. It's all wrong. There is no justifiable war for any reason. There's never an excuse to harm innocent people. Now, some can say that there are no such thing as innocent people. At a certain point, I think the only innocent people are like babies and really young people, because they have an open mind. But then the propaganda begins with the education system and our whole society. And I come from a Western-based society, so others' world cultural views are entirely different. A person living in India doesn't see the world the same way I see the world. In fact, they live in an entirely different stratosphere. So, enough with the splitting hairs here. Look, I'm not down for war. I'm not going to promote it by being against war. What do you mean? All right. As I've moved through, and I'm going to give credit a lot for Andrew Meyer kind of crystallizing this thought. Look, to be anti-anything is to inadvertently promote whatever you're against. Anytime that you're against something, even if it's for the right reasons, you're still putting a negative energy out there. And what I was trying to get to with the last video is that you are 100% responsible for your own energy field. You can, if you want to give your power to another entity, i.e. some sort of religious organization, some sort of government, some sort of other entity on Spaceship Earth, You're free to do that. You're free. That's what free will is about. You're allowed to go turn your own energy field over to some other corrupt medium. But why would you do that? Why would you do that? Because you're in a state of fear. Because you've been convinced from an early age that the only way to succeed on the planet you were born on is to have some other people manifest stuff for you. It's a scam. And what I mean by being a rock star or movie star is not... Why I picked that is because A, everyone knows what one is. It's the worldwide meme, if you will. But also, why I picked that was because the theory of that entity is that A, they've created their own reality, whether it's through music or acting or art or whatever it is. They've created their own reality and they've achieved abundance. And because they've achieved abundance means that they're not in a state of lack. Now, we can get into a big debate whether movie stars and rock stars are douchebags. I generally think that we can pretty much say that most of them are, but there are plenty of movie stars and rock stars, and I've had the privilege to know some of them in my life that are really kind, generous people that use their state of abundance to help other people achieve abundance. And what I'm really talking about is empowering yourself to realize that you are 100% in charge of the energy that you radiate out into this holographic experience we all share that we call reality. And you can radiate one of fear, which is a low vibrational frequency, and that's based on lack, anger, frustration, discomfort of the mind. It all comes from the mind. Or you can radiate love, which is abundance, which is grace, which is extending your hand to your fellow being, which is being of service to your fellow beings. Now, that is your choice to do what you want to do with your own energy field. And what I'm getting at is that if you're against war and you're participating in the debate about who's right and who's wrong and whether these missiles are justified and that bomb's justified, you're creating war. Whoa, that's a pretty far out thing. Yeah, we have to take responsibility for the energy we're putting into the system. Now, what I'm saying is, I'm not about ignorance. To be ignorant, hey, is ignorance. What I'm saying is I had a debate with my roommate about what's going on geopolitically today, and he sees the world totally different than I do. And we discussed this for quite some time. At the end of the discussion, the world didn't change. The war didn't stop. The war didn't begin. All that we did was waste a bunch of time talking about something that really didn't mean anything today, because ultimately today is all about going down to the beach and enjoying the day and being nice to the people that I encounter along the way today. Now, I can get super jammed up about this subject matter, just like people that want to get angry with me in the comment section, like, your head's in the sand, you're not being a realist, you're a narcissist, and blah, 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 blah. No, man. I've made a decision that I am not going to participate in their low dimensional energy field. And I'm totally aware of the trick they're trying to inflict upon humanity. Look, this is what's going on. A lot of us, a majority of us, are waking up. I don't know if you've ever read a book called The 100th Monkey Principle. Anyway, it's about once enough of us wake up to the state of love, the state of abundance, that it'll spontaneously spread throughout the population. And the low frequency entities that are the governments, that are these corporations, that are these warmongers, they are totally aware of that. And they're trying to keep us in this low vibrational field, this small box. Because if we were to break free of the perception that this is all that there is this cash-riddled, gas-organized, warmongering state of existence, once we vibrate past that, they no longer are valid. They lose their power to tax us, to hold technology, to control this 3D landscape. So what I'm trying to get across through a metaphor of being a rock star / movie star is that once you realize that your power to choose between love and fear is all that's ever been asked of you, you realize, of course you would choose love. Maybe not, maybe you're cuckoo and you want to choose fear because you haven't elevated your frequency enough to realize that fear only gets negative, low frequency, vibrational things occurring to you. Or you can choose love and begin to vibrate in love and live in a state of abundance. And when you're in a state of love, what you thought you needed to exist no longer matters anymore. Because you're no longer chasing dollar bills to put petrol products in an internal combustion engine. Suddenly, that whole cycle of existence fades. And when it fades, that excuse for war and famine and denying other people of water begins to fade too. It's only through us participating in war mentally that is manifesting it. If we look, there's a saying, right? What if you had a war and nobody showed up? That's it right there. We as individuals have the power to not show up to war, to not debate the validity or unvalidity of war. It's just to take the concept right out of existence. Look, I'm not participating in it anymore. Nah, I'm not, man. My way to stop what's going on out there is to go be nice to everyone I encounter. And let me tell you, I live in a place full of a lot of douchebags and donkeys and hypocrites. And I gotta go be nice to those people because you have to lead by example. And it's hard, man. It's hard to have people attacking you and still try to extend a loving hand to them. But look, the key to it all is the lock is your mind and the key is your heart. Man, boom, click, unlock it all. And that's what's going on here. That's why everything's ramping up right now, whether it's Fukushima or Monsanto or wars over in the Middle East or this clown Obama or this donkey Putin, whatever these things are. Dude, they don't mean anything unless we choose to give them power to exist. And that's all I'm trying to go about doing with my main mission in this channel is overthrow this system. Look, I've crossed the Rubicon of this 3D landscape. I know that we can never beat them tactily. We're never going to be able to beat the evildoers with weaponry or protest or elections or any of that stuff. Because they're trying to make us think those are the only tools available to us. What I've realized is that you, as an individual entity, choosing to live in a state of love, cancel all other forms of stuff I just mentioned. You living in a state of love make bullets irrelevant. They make war irrelevant because love is contagious. So if we all start to love ourselves first and then work on ourselves, get our own things straight, and we behave as people that are in a state of abundance, that love ourselves and broadcast love to the people nearest to us, we begin to give them the ability to love themselves and change themselves, because most people are so afraid that they are in a state of like tension and ready to combat. Everybody's ready to, like, worried about losing their oxygen and their planet. Look, that's why it's Spaceship Earth, man. There's nowhere to go except here, except multidimensional realities, man. This 3D tapestry is coming to the point where it's going to collapse on itself like a house of cards, because that's all it is. It's a house of cards, man. And until you realize your true power as an entity that's connected to Source, this all disappears. This all becomes futile. You would never need to ever engage your mind in the concept of war or lack or poverty or famine. All that stuff has the ability to disappear within you by radiating love. I know it's a giant leap. It is such a huge leap to abandon this 3D landscape and live in a state of love with Source. But that's all I'm about, man. And yeah, I take some chances on the metaphors I choose and how I go about doing it, because I am susceptible to the material world just as much as the next person. I get in states of fear. Like, I'm not exactly wild with what's going on Spaceship Earth, but I can't do anything about that until I do something about this. This is where I must start. I must start here to affect here to begin to change out there. Anyway, look, it's Labor Day weekend. A lot of people drink and drive. Let's try not to drink and drive. Let's sacrifice our own party to make sure our friends get home safely this weekend. Let's assume that everybody out on the road is drinking and driving, and let's use caution when we're out there. Let's just be safe this weekend. Let's just be safe in everything we do. Let's stop living in fear and take responsibility for our own form. Then that's what it is. That's all I'm talking about, is taking responsibility for yourself and freeing yourself of the need for anyone to dictate reality to you. This is your existence. This is your hologram and your dream and your life to do what you want to do with. And if you choose to be a slave, that's a valid choice too. We must love everybody as we want to be loved. And it's a radical bridge to cross, man. It's a radical bridge to cross. Anyway, this is The Illusion. Stand high frequency, vibrating past low frequencies. And Lakesh.